Hey everybody, so I hope you are ready for the exciting conclusion to our color classifier project. We are today going to take our model, we're going to load it into the Xcode project and actually use the Xcode project to tell us through the program what color do we think it's actually seeing. So this is the third stage of our machine learning cycle. First we collected our data, then we trained our classifier, and now we're on the evaluate stage, and so we'll have some fun doing that in a little bit. What you can see on my screen right now is I have right here the model, the trained model that I generated in the previous step, and I also have a fresh copy of the color training Xcode application that you used previously to generate your data. And we're going to use that to actually build this application up again. We don't have to change too much, but I'll show you what you do need to do. So I'm going to open this up, this fresh copy, and what we're going to do is just drag the model that we trained directly into this project. So I will go to my downloads, here is my model, and I'm just going to drag it over like this. I'm going to make sure that I have copy items if needed. I'm going to hit finish. And now I have this in my program. And so let's start adding the steps into the code to make it so that we can use it. The first thing we're going to do is use our viewcontroller.swift file. And we're going to add a couple things. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to create a variable that we can use to access this model that we just dragged in. So I'm going to call this model, and I'm going to call it color classifier, but I'm going to put a question mark in there because initially the program is not going to load it. We have to tell the program to actually load it. And we're getting a little bit of an error here, which I think should disappear the moment we try to build it. So I did have to fix something on the signing in capabilities that you will not have to do as we did this. I also hit the play button to build, and that error disappeared. So we are in great shape. The second thing that we're going to want to do is actually load that classifier. And so the way we do that is we add a little bit of code right here. We're going to override a function so that when the view controller first loads, then we're going to load in the color classifier. And so we just need to say that model, that variable we defined before, is equal to color classifier like that. And so that loads in our classifier. The next thing that we want to do is play around with this classify color algorithm. I had big plans. Initially, I was going to have you play with this. I got rid of that. And so what I'm going to do is change a couple things about this function. I'm going to make all of these doubles. So double, double, and double. Get rid of my typo there. And what I'm going to do in here is I'm going to do if let color model equals model. Let me fix that. If let color model equals model. So that means that if a model has been loaded, this train classifier has been loaded, we're going to try to come up with this new variable called a color classifier prediction. And what this means is we're going to try, if you can, to do a prediction on the colors that are being read by this function. So you can see that we are taking in a red, a green, and a blue number. These are what we've used previously. So we're going to take in a red, a green, and a blue number, and we're going to try to do a prediction on those three numbers. So red value, that's our red here that comes into the function. This is going to be green, and blue value is blue. Now this try thing means that we're asking it to try to do this. It's possible that it might fail. And what this guard let means is it says, try this. Don't go on. Run this code if there's a problem. So let's guard against errors. If there is a problem, then what we're going to do is do something called a fatal error, and we're just going to say there's a prediction problem if that happens. But hopefully that won't be a problem. And so the final thing, this next line of code is only going to run if there isn't a problem, because otherwise it's going to quit the function. And so we're going to print the color classifier prediction to see if the color model was actually able to do a prediction, do it. And let's actually print color classifier prediction dot color label. So let's print the color label that comes out of that. And the last thing we want to do in this function is to return this color classifier prediction dot color label. Because if we can, we want to return what color the model actually thinks it is. Otherwise, return that there's an error. All right. So everything else looks good. We're getting a little error here. Oh, right. I was missing an else in there. Okay, great. So do this. Otherwise, there's an error. Print the label and return the label. So the last thing that we're going to do is actually run this classifier, and we're going to do that anytime the color slider is changed. So that's run in this code up here. And let's see. There's a lot going on here, so I'm using my notes. So let's let predicted color, let's make this variable predicted color be what our classify color algorithm gives us, and we're going to use this red value, green value, and blue value as the input. Those are the values coming from the sliders. So the red value, the green value, and the blue is blue value. And we're going to get a little error there because those are floats. And so I'm just going to be a little lazy and let it. We said in the previous, in this function that those would all be doubles. So that's why we have to do that. Okay, so let's try this. It was a lot of work. Let's see if it works. All right, so moment of truth. We can see that this printed out blue down there. I'm going to change this, and we get a new prediction. So that's an other. Just watch that down there. That's a pink, that's an other. Let's move all these down, an orange. So it's saying that that is a red. Let's make it very clearly red. There we go, red, 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 red. So that's interesting. Once we have this loaded, we can kind of see what the edges of our classifier working actually are. So this is kind of cool. I really would love to be able to see though what the classified color is right here. So I know that that's working. I'm gonna go to my storyboard. And I'm gonna go down to my application and I'm gonna create a label that I can use to do this. So we'll go to label and we will drag it in right here, stretch it out a little bit. I'm gonna go to editor, assistant, because now I need to connect that label to my application. I wanna make it so that I can say what color my trained classifier thinks this is on the front panel. So I'm gonna do control drag that right in there, and I'm gonna call this predicted color label. Connect. And what I would like to do is when I run this function down here, I'm going to change the predicted color label dot string value. I'm going to make it, let's put in a little string, so predicted color, and I'm gonna make this the predicted color. So that anytime the color changes, it's going to use the classifier, try to predict the color, and then show it on the front screen. Okay, so building this code. All right, here we go. So we can kind of see that anytime I change this predicted color, it says that that's red. I agree. What if we max this out? We get an other there. Okay, and so once I make it clearly blue, I get a clear blue there. So this is where you can start evaluating the performance of your classifier. For example, I agree that that is definitely blue. But what if I start pushing the boundary there? It says that that's other. It's saying that that's blue. Now, I disagree often with my wife about things being blue and purple. I think that's purple. I hope others would agree with that. My classifier says that that's blue, so technically this should be other, but I'm not seeing that here. So this is a place where my classifier isn't working as expected. It would be great if it worked as expected, of course. So this now is a tool that I can use to find the edges of my classifier, and I still have all the capabilities, if I want to record some new data. So for example, let's get something that definitely is blue, but is on the maybe on the edge of things. So it says that that's blue. What about, let's see, what about a turquoise there? So that's like a sky blue. It's still getting that right. There it's saying that's green. So this is kind of an edge there. And so this is where I, as a human, could use my intuition to say, yeah, that's blue, I agree. Yeah, that's definitely green. Where does that stop? Like this, I look at that and I might say that that's blue. So I could now go in here, go to blue, and save it, and I now have more data to add to my data set. Anyway, so what I want you to do is go through these steps, add the train classifier to your application and play around with it. Find the limits of how good of a job it can actually do, and try to retrain your classifier. Get your classifier as good as you possibly can get it. What I'm also going to do is I'm going to share the models of a bunch of your classmates so that you can kind of see how different people's classifiers work. And you can see if you agree with their classifier or not. So that's what I want you to play around with today. I hope you can have some fun with this. I hope you've had fun with this whole task learning about how we can teach a computer colors. I hope that you've had some fun. So thanks for being part of this project. Good luck finishing this last step. Have a great day.